A family in Japan pays half of what a family in America pays for the exact same cart of groceries, same items, same brands, same quantities. And it has almost nothing to do with the price of food itself, because in most categories, groceries in Japan actually cost more than they do in America. The real difference isn't on the price tag. It's in a set of habits Japanese shoppers use every single trip habits that grocery stores would rather you never found out about. Start using them on your next shop and the bill at the register drops without a single coupon, without an app, and without any membership card. These tricks cover everything from the first move a Japanese shopper makes the second they walk through the sliding doors, to the last thing they check before leaving. Today I'm walking you through 15 of them. Every one is something you can start using on your very next trip, and you'll feel the difference at checkout before you even get home. The first trick is the one Japanese families use to catch the store cheating them, and it happens in the final 30 seconds before they walk out the door. Trick 1, the receipt check scanner errors, happen far more often than most shoppers ever realize, and almost nobody checks for them. Studies going back years have consistently found pricing mistakes on roughly 1 out of every 30 items scanned at checkout, and a meaningful share of those mistakes are overcharges the store simply gets to keep if nobody ever looks closely enough to catch them. In Japan, there's a specific habit built around this exact problem called rishiito cheku, or receipt check. Before the automatic doors even close behind them, shoppers stand near the exit for a minute or two and read through the receipt line by line, comparing what they remember from the shelf to what actually printed on the paper. If something rang up wrong, even by a few cents, they turn around and walk straight back to customer service instead of just shrugging it off. Most American supermarkets have a scanner accuracy policy buried in the fine print at the service counter, one that almost nobody ever asks about if an item rings up higher than the price on its shelf tag. The store is required to either give it to you free or sell it at the lower shelf price. 2 minutes at the exit. Every single trip, forever, add that up over a year of weekly shopping, and that one small habit alone can quietly pay for a full week's worth of groceries. Trick 2, write the list before you leave home. Nobody in Japan walks into a supermarket without some kind of plan already worked out in advance. At home, before they ever put their shoes on, shoppers sit down and read through the weekly flyer called the kayashi and circle only the specific items that match what the household genuinely needs for that particular week. By the time they actually leave the house and get in the car or on the bike, the shopping list has essentially already written itself, because the store's own flyer did most of the thinking for them. Decades of consumer research back this up in a very consistent way. A shopper who arrives carrying a written list spends around 30% less, on average, than a shopper who walks in with nothing but a rough idea in their head. And crucially, that gap has almost nothing to do with willpower or self-control in the moment. It comes entirely from the planning that happened before anyone ever set foot in the store. Trick 3, read the unit price, not the sticker price. Every single price tag on every shelf actually hides a second, much smaller number that most shoppers never bother to look at. There's the big sticker price you notice instantly from 6 feet away, printed large and bold on purpose. And then there's a tiny figure tucked quietly into the corner of the same tag, the actual cost per ounce or per gram of the product. That second number, the unit price, is the only one that genuinely matters when you're comparing two products side by side. A jumbo box of laundry detergent can easily cost more per ounce than the standard-sized box sitting right next to it on the same shelf, because stores are betting, correctly, that most shoppers will assume bigger automatically means cheaper. It doesn't, not even close, in a huge number of cases. The exact same trick runs quietly through cereal, coffee, olive oil, pasta sauce, and nearly every packaged category in the entire store, waiting for someone to actually stop and read the small print. Trick 4. Buy the whole bird, cut it yourself, same chicken. Half the price. That's really the entire trick in 4 words. A whole chicken sitting in the meat case costs a fraction per pound of what pre-cut boneless breasts cost 2 shelves over in their neat little styrofoam trays, even though both products came from the exact same bird on the exact same farm. Japanese cooks default to buying the whole bird almost automatically, because nothing about it goes to waste in a traditional kitchen. Every single part becomes either a meal or the base for a stock. A few minutes of simple knife work at home, nothing fancy, saves close to 50% per pound on average, which makes it one of the single biggest savings available anywhere in the entire grocery store. One whole chicken, broken down properly, turns into a roast dinner, a batch of sandwiches, a stir-fry later in the week, and a full pot of homemade stock, all from one single purchase at the register. Trick 5. Hunt down the discount section. Nearly every American supermarket has a shelf or a small wire cart dedicated to dented cans and slightly imperfect produce sold at anywhere from 30 to 70% off the regular price, and almost every single one of those stores tucks it away near the restrooms or by the employee entrance, where hardly anyone ever wanders. Japan does the exact opposite, right out in the open. The very same kind of section sits right at the front of the store, impossible to miss, under a large sign that reads Waikari, which translates roughly as there's a reason. A dented can of tomatoes is still, at the end of the day, completely usable tomatoes. Making a habit of hunting down that cart or shelf on every single trip is about as close to genuinely free money as a grocery store will ever hand you. Trick 6. Ask the butcher for the scraps. Bones, trim and knuckles sitting behind the butcher counter are very often given away for free or sold for pennies a pound. You simply have to ask politely, and most butchers are happy to oblige. Japanese home cooking has always treated these leftover scraps as valuable raw material, never as garbage to be thrown out at the end